The United States is widely recognized as a global superpower renowned for its economic and cultural influence. However, beneath the facade of prosperity and innovation, significant social challenges persist. In this travel documentary, we turn our attention to a critical issue plaguing one of its most iconic states, homelessness in New York. From the bustling streets of Manhattan to the quieter boroughs like Staten Island, over 350,000 individuals find themselves without a permanent place to call home each night. This crisis not only affects those directly impacted, but also reflects the broader economic and social disparities within the city. From the towering skyscrapers of Manhattan to the serene neighborhoods of Staten Island, we'll explore how different areas within New York State are uniquely impacted by homelessness. We'll meet individuals and families facing the harsh realities of life without stable housing, and hear from local officials and community leaders working tirelessly to implement solutions. How effective are the current government initiatives, and what more needs to be done to create lasting change? Throughout this travel documentary, we'll answer these questions and more, providing a comprehensive look at the homelessness crisis and the multifaceted approaches aimed at solving it. Homelessness in New York has surged to its highest point since the Great Depression of the 1930s, with over 350,000 people estimated to be without a permanent place to stay as of August 2024 each night. About 132,000 individuals sleep in shelters, while thousands more find refuge on public streets or rely on the generosity of others by staying in someone else's home. Over the past 2 decades, the number of homeless people in New York has soared by 175%. There was a brief 25% decline during the pandemic thanks to eviction moratoriums and emergency rental assistance programs, but the issue has since rebounded. Families make up a staggering 71% of those in shelters, including almost 46,000 children, a striking reflection of the depth of the crisis in one of the world's wealthiest cities. The ever-widening economic gap has exacerbated conditions, leaving many residents struggling to make ends meet. In this travel documentary, we will break down the 10 cities across New York State with the highest levels of homelessness, exploring the unique challenges each city faces and the strategies being implemented to combat this growing crisis. Before we proceed, we want to emphasize the importance of awareness and community involvement in addressing homelessness. Have you ever considered how a thriving city like New York can have such deep-rooted social issues? Understanding the complexities of homelessness is the first step toward meaningful change. How can we as a society better support those in need? These are questions worth pondering as we navigate through this documentary. Syracuse. Syracuse, although a major city in New York State, has the smallest homeless population on this list, with approximately 25 to 30 individuals sleeping either on the streets or in shelters every night. Even with such low numbers, homelessness in Syracuse remains a cause for concern, driven by local economic decline and a lack of affordable housing options. A surprising statistic is that many of the city's homeless are military veterans, reflecting the difficulties some veterans face when reintegrating into civilian life. Local authorities have implemented several strategies, including the Housing First and From DA initiatives, which provide immediate housing without preconditions. However, limited funding and resources have hampered progress compared to other cities on this list. Syracuse runs smaller-scale assistance programs, but the local community shows a strong commitment to supporting those in need. Staten Island. As the smallest of New York City's 5 boroughs, Staten Island might seem like an unlikely place to face a homelessness crisis. Yet, with 216 people experiencing homelessness, it's clear that the issue remains significant. The borough's lower population density can make homelessness less visible, but the need for support is no less urgent. In recent years, Staten Island has taken steps to address the problem by opening 3 new shelters that had been in the planning stages for years. Located on Van Duer Street, Highland Boulevard, and Tompkins Avenue, these facilities offer various levels of support. The shelter on Van Duer Street can house 200 families or around 500 people, while the others provide accommodations for 50 women and 100 individuals, respectively. Additionally, a nonprofit called People's Path plays an important role in providing essential services for the homeless on Staten Island, helping to bridge gaps where government resources fall short. Albany. The capital of New York State, Albany is known for its rich history, iconic architecture like the New York State Capitol, and its reputation as a hub of government and higher education. However, despite its image as a center of innovation and progress, Albany struggles with an alarmingly high rate of homelessness, with around 750 individuals lacking stable housing. The rising cost of living and a shortage of affordable housing are key drivers of the crisis, creating a stark contrast between the city's economic ambitions and the social challenges faced by many of its residents. This tension highlights the widening gap between progress and poverty in the capital city. To combat the growing crisis, the Albany government introduced the Albany Project Hope, which aims to provide quick interventions for those experiencing homelessness. However, like many social programs, it often faces budgetary constraints that limit its impact. Compared to other cities in the region, Albany's homeless population is disproportionately high for a city of its size, particularly when set against smaller cities like Syracuse. Rochester. Once a beacon of industrial and academic innovation, home to companies like Kodak and the University of Rochester, Rochester now faces a serious homelessness crisis. Approximately 83 people in the city currently lack stable housing, underscoring the growing gap between Rochester's achievements and its social challenges. In recent months, homeless encampments in the area have become hotspots for safety issues, with incidents such as fires threatening nearby residents. Although local authorities have attempted to relocate those affected into shelters, many initiatives have faltered due to funding shortages and poor management. One example is the dismantling of Peace Village, a prominent encampment which was shut down without a clear plan to provide alternative accommodations, forcing many residents back onto the streets. Brooklyn. Known for its cultural landmarks like the Brooklyn Bridge and Prospect Park, along with its diverse neighborhoods, Brooklyn is currently home to around 1,157 homeless individuals. A growing number of low-income residents are being forced out of their homes due to rising living costs, driving up homelessness in this iconic borough. Many of those living on the streets are employed in low-wage jobs, but their earnings are insufficient to cover rent in an increasingly expensive housing market. Despite efforts by local authorities to increase affordable housing, gentrification and high property values have made it difficult to keep pace with the demand. Social tensions are rising, especially in areas like Bensonhurst, where protests have erupted over the location of new homeless shelters. Some residents express concern about how these shelters might impact their communities. In Sunset Park, Small business owners have reported growing issues, including the presence of discarded needles and makeshift tents set up along the streets. These developments highlight the disconnect between Brooklyn's economic progress and the stark reality of homelessness affecting many of its residents. Queens. Often celebrated for its rich cultural diversity and immigrant communities, Queens is facing an escalating homelessness crisis with 1,219 individuals currently without homes. Despite being one of the more affluent areas of New York City, the borough's skyrocketing rent prices have pushed many working-class individuals onto the streets. Alarmingly, many of Queens' homeless population are employed, but their wages are not enough to keep up with the high cost of living. While transitional housing programs and rental assistance are in place, these efforts fall short of meeting the growing need. Community Districts 1 and 12 house the majority of migrant shelters, leading to concerns among residents about the rapid placement of homeless facilities in their neighborhoods. One controversial case is the conversion of the Wyndham Garden Hotel in Ridgewood Park into a shelter, which has caused friction with locals who feel excluded from the decision-making process. Additionally, Jamaica Station has become a frequent overnight refuge for homeless individuals, creating discomfort for daily commuters. These challenges reflect the ongoing struggle to balance compassion with practical solutions in Queens. Buffalo. The second largest city in New York State, renowned for its industrial past and proximity to Niagara Falls, Buffalo is grappling with the homelessness crisis that has affected 1,432 people. The decline of the manufacturing sector, combined with high unemployment rates and deteriorating housing, has left many residents without stable accommodations. Buffalo's harsh winter weather exacerbates the situation as the homeless population swells with seasonal cases during the colder months. Emergency shelters often reach capacity, leaving many with no choice but to brave the elements. Efforts to address the crisis, such as clearing homeless encampments in the downtown area, have proven ineffective. Displaced individuals frequently return to the streets, highlighting the lack of sustainable housing options and shelter space. Buffalo's strong struggle with homelessness reflects a broader issue across upstate New York, where economic downturns coupled with insufficient social safety nets leave many residents vulnerable. The Bronx. Known for having the highest poverty rate in New York City, the Bronx also struggles with one of the largest homeless populations, totaling around 1,458 individuals. This paradox is stark. While the Bronx is celebrated as a cultural hub, credited as the birthplace of hip-hop and home to the first hip-hop museum, it also serves as a symbol of a deepening housing crisis. Generational homelessness is an alarming trend here, with many homeless individuals being children of parents who also experienced homelessness, perpetuating a vicious cycle of displacement. Although the Bronx has more shelters than any other borough in the city, these facilities are often overcrowded and struggle to keep up with the growing demand. Homeless encampments regularly appear in public spaces like parks and sidewalks, posing challenges for nearby businesses. Despite government efforts to relocate the homeless into shelters, the solutions have proven inadequate. As quickly as camps are cleared, new ones emerge, underscoring the ongoing struggle to address homelessness effectively in this borough. Manhattan. The financial and cultural heart of New York City Famous for landmarks like Times Square and towering skyscrapers, Manhattan is also home to one of the most visible homeless populations. More than 4,000 people are without homes here, a stark reminder of the deep socioeconomic divide within a borough of 1.6 million residents. Homeless individuals are often seen in public spaces such as subway stations, parks, and street corners, drawing attention to the city's struggle to address the crisis effectively. In an attempt to control the situation, the city conducts regular sweeps to clear the streets of encampments. However, these measures are more cosmetic than structural, offering only temporary relief while leaving the core issue unresolved. One of the most striking examples is the tunnel near the Hudson River in Upper Manhattan, which has become an underground shanty town filled with trash and human waste. Several individuals have set up makeshift shelters with mattresses and sheets, turning the space into a semi-permanent settlement. Frustrated residents complain about blocked sidewalks and foul conditions, often changing their routes just to avoid these areas. Despite repeated cleanup efforts, the homeless return, demonstrating the city's inability to provide lasting solutions. New York City overview. At the top of the list is New York City itself, with a homeless population of about 4,140 individuals sleeping on the streets, in parks, or on the subway every night. Although New York operates the largest homelessness response program in the nation, the problem continues to worsen due to soaring living costs and widening economic inequality. Even as authorities clear encampments from high-profile business districts and tourist areas, many homeless individuals soon return to the streets, making the cycle difficult to break. City shelters are also overwhelmed, with over 150,000 people currently relying on the shelter system for housing. While the city has tried to replace encampments with more permanent housing, such efforts often face resistance from residents, especially in wealthier neighborhoods that oppose the construction of shelters near their homes. This opposition complicates efforts to build much-needed housing solutions, leaving thousands with no safe place to go. Adding to the complexity is the issue of mole people, an elusive group of individuals estimated to number anywhere between 5,000 and 25,000. These individuals live hidden within the city's labyrinth of subway tunnels and utility corridors, creating small underground communities far from the public eye. Some reside in extremely dangerous areas, such as near live electrical tracks, underscoring the precariousness of their situation. The existence of these underground dwellers symbolizes not only the physical displacement of the homeless, but also the social invisibility that keeps them on the margins of society. Addressing the crisis, government and community efforts. The homelessness crisis in New York State is multifaceted, requiring comprehensive solutions that address both immediate needs and long-term systemic issues. Government initiatives, nonprofit organizations, and community efforts all play pivotal roles in tackling this challenge. Local and state governments have launched various programs aimed at reducing homelessness. Initiatives like the Housing First model prioritize providing stable housing as a foundation for addressing other issues such as employment, healthcare, and education. The Albany Project Hope is one such effort that seeks to offer rapid intervention services to those experiencing homelessness, helping them transition into stable living conditions. However, these programs often face significant obstacles, including budgetary constraints and limited resources. Despite the best intentions, the scale of the homelessness crisis can overwhelm existing support systems, leading to gaps in service and inadequate coverage for those in need. Non-profit organizations are critical in filling the gaps left by government programs. Organizations like People's Path in Staten Island provide essential services including food, clothing, medical care, and job training. These organizations often operate on tight budgets and rely heavily on community support and donations to sustain their efforts. In Rochester, nonprofits have been instrumental in addressing the immediate needs of the homeless population, even as they advocate for more sustainable, long-term solutions. The dismantling of Peace Village highlighted the urgent need for comprehensive plans that go beyond temporary relocations, emphasizing the importance of collaboration between government bodies and nonprofit organizations. Community involvement is essential in combating homelessness. Local residents, businesses, and volunteers contribute to various initiatives, from donating supplies to participating in advocacy efforts aimed at influencing policy changes. In Brooklyn, for example, small business owners in Sunset Park have voiced their concerns about the increasing visibility of homelessness, prompting community-driven discussions on how to balance economic growth with social responsibility. Moreover, public awareness campaigns and educational programs help destigmatize homelessness, fostering a more compassionate and supportive environment for those affected. By engaging the community, cities can create a more inclusive approach to solving the homelessness crisis. Educational and preventive measures. Addressing homelessness also involves educational and preventive strategies aimed at tackling the root causes of the issue. Efforts to provide education and job training to homeless individuals can empower them to achieve self-sufficiency and reintegrate into society. Additionally, preventive measures such as rental assistance programs and affordable housing initiatives aim to reduce the risk of individuals and families becoming homeless in the first place. The role of mental health services. A significant proportion of the homeless population struggles with mental health issues, substance abuse, and other personal challenges. Providing accessible mental health services is crucial in helping individuals overcome these barriers and achieve stability. Integrating mental health support with housing initiatives can create a more holistic approach to addressing homelessness. The importance of affordable housing. At the heart of the homelessness crisis is the lack of affordable housing. Rising rent prices and limited availability of low-cost housing options force many individuals and families into homelessness. Addressing this issue requires a multi-pronged approach, including increasing the supply of affordable housing, implementing rent control measures, and offering subsidies to those in need. Policy recommendations. To effectively combat homelessness, policymakers must adopt comprehensive strategies that encompass housing, healthcare, education, and economic support. This includes expanding affordable housing by investing in the construction and maintenance of affordable housing units to meet the growing demand. Enhancing support services is crucial, providing integrated services that address the diverse needs of the homeless population, including mental health care, job training, and substance abuse training. Additionally, strengthening preventive measures by implementing policies that prevent homelessness, such as eviction prevention programs and rental assistance, is essential. Fostering community partnerships by encouraging collaboration between government agencies, nonprofit organizations, and community groups will create a unified response to homelessness. Finally, promoting public awareness through educating the public about the realities of homelessness can reduce stigma and encourage supportive actions. Homelessness in New York State is a complex and multifaceted issue that requires a holistic and sustained effort to address. From Syracuse to Manhattan, each city faces unique challenges but also shares common struggles in combating this crisis. Through government initiatives, nonprofit organizations, community efforts, and innovative solutions, progress can be made towards reducing homelessness and providing stable, supportive environments for those in need. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live without a permanent home in one of the world's most iconic cities? If you found this documentary insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth explorations of the world's most pressing social issues.